All right, we are live on YouTube. I'm going to turn on my camera. You don't have to if you don't want to. Well, so we are here today for Money Mondays. We do this almost every Monday with you. We are going to be doing some really exciting stuff over the coming weeks that I'm going to be sharing with you as well. I am going to dive right in here. What are we here today to do? We're going to be talking about open houses, and I do have an outline, so you will not be subjected to me rambling on, hopefully too much. But I wanted to focus today on what I think is really a lost art, and that is powerful open houses. And so as I'm looking at most of you that are on here today, you are probably agents that are either newer or don't have a huge amount of your own listing inventory yet. And even if you are not new and you're catching this later, what an opportunity to build your pipeline of business for the future, for 2023 and beyond. And so I have an 11-step plan we're going to walk through with you. Whether you are an agent that's going to be doing an open house for someone else or you are doing it yourself. Now, I just sent everybody at our office a list of all the most recent listings. The beauty of being at a nice big office or office group like ours with 4 locations is you do have a variety of listing inventory in almost every price point, in almost every location to choose from to do an open house. The issue with open houses, there's a couple of them. Here's the reality. Most experienced agents don't do open houses anymore, or they'll do them sparingly and they kind of roll their eyes at them because they think they're a waste of time. Newer agents, you guys get stuck with the open house, quote unquote, opportunity because the actual listing agent hasn't really invested in the outcome of the open house. And so we're going to change that paradigm today because we want to make sure that the right marketing is done in advance of the open house, so you actually get people to the open houses. So this is a stereotype that open houses don't work. I will tell you, as a new agent, knowing no one, especially when I was much younger, as a new agent, I was 20 years old when I started in the business, and I did not know anyone in my age range that was buying houses at that time. Some of my friends were just getting drunk in college, quite frankly, or getting kicked out of school. So they weren't doing anything. So I had to build a database from scratch. So some of you that are newer, this is going to hopefully really resonate with you. But everybody in our office really should be focusing on building a wider database and a deeper database. We've said this quite a bit this fall. I want you to build a 50% wider database. That means you've got to grow it beyond just who's already in there, particularly if you're newer. And for those of us experienced, we need to go deeper with our existing database. When was the last time, if you did an open house, that you actually invited the people that are already in your sphere of influence? They should want to see you. You should want to see them. We're going to talk about creating more of an event feel to your open house. So my experience based on doing open houses to get business, I focus as a new agent on open houses and expireds. Expired is going to be our next Money Monday, so stay tuned for that invite. That's going to be big. That one's going to be just for our agents at our office. This one is being broadcast on YouTube. So if you're at another brokerage, feel free to learn with us today. There'll be some tools that only exit strategy agents have, but hopefully you'll be able to follow along. I did open houses the wrong way for a long time, and then I figured out through good coaching how to do them the right way, and they have ever since then been a big part of my business even today. And so for some of you that have known me well, or even earlier today were with me at North Avenue when we were live for in-person coaching, you know that also this is not my first market. I was in Indiana for years before I moved over to Chicago and kind of had to start all over again because I knew nobody here either. Even though I was older and maybe some people in my natural age range were buying houses, guess what? I knew nobody here. So I had to start all over. If you don't mind, again, if you're just joining us, go ahead and mute your phone or your desktop if you're on it. I went ahead and turned my phone on Do Not Disturb, so you won't be bothered by mine either. I appreciate it. A well-done open house can do several things for your business. Well, obviously, for the seller, they want the exposure. They want to feel like their property is being properly marketed. So as a buyer's agent, have an opportunity to come in and potentially sell that house. But what a lot of times happens is you come in and you're actually meeting neighbors who may need to sell their own property, neighbors who may want to buy a property, people that are unrepresented by other realtors or have been sent or found the open house by an agent that really isn't very active in their search, and you may have the opportunity to convert them to be your client. So a really well done open house can do this for you. So we're going to walk you through the steps. One of the biggest mistakes I see from the get-go is that these are done at the last minute. I see you adding them. Bless you, my friends that are doing open houses, but I see you adding them on Friday. That is way too late. At the very latest, the very latest, you need to put them in by Thursday night. And there's some reasons why for that psychologically that I'm going to tell you, as well as technically. So get them in as early as you can. I would say maybe even Monday. Now, I'm committed to start sending you the list that I sent you earlier that has the address, the price, and the agent's contact information for the seller's agent. So the listing agent can hopefully help you and work with you and share the listing with you for that open house. Doesn't mean they have to make you a co-lister. They just have to be here. You have to be here and have a conversation about it. So for a seller, they love it when they get you get the open house in early, because it bumps up their listing on Zillow and a lot of other websites too to the top. That's because it now has an open house. That's an activity. It differentiates them from the pack. It's got an open house banner on it. If you're doing that Thursday night, Friday morning, a lot of times agents will miss that if they're sending their clients, or guess what? The buyer's going to miss it because they started looking earlier in the week. So make sure it's in as early as you can in the week, definitely. But that's just step one, get in the MLS. So again, this is a 11-step process. You may have seen a 7-level open house training from someone else, not me, not here. This is an 11th level open house. This is next level. So number 2, this is old school, flyers in the area. Why would you do that? Well, number 1, people are often shopping the area they already live, but it's also a really great indicator to sellers in the area, potential sellers, that, hey, this is an active agent in the area. It's a great way to start building reputation and create an artificial farm in an area, whether you live in that area or not. I really do love it when you pick out open houses in areas that you're already familiar with or live in, because it's easier for you as a newer agent to do, or even as an experienced agent. The sign out front, if there's a sign allowed. Remember, we have agents all over the city, the suburbs. So depending on what area you're in and what type of property it is, they may not even have a sign out front. Even if they do, it's going to be your open house sign. It's going to be your open house. It's going to be your information at the open house. You're the one that gets the contact information for that person to follow up afterwards. We're going to really dive deep into drip campaigns today and tomorrow, because that's what we're doing tomorrow at North Avenue. And yes, that will be live on Zoom and recorded for our agents. It will be a private video. It will not be out to YouTube, just to us. So guess what else I want you to do? I want you to partner with a lender, maybe an attorney, maybe a home inspector, but definitely a lender, because I love the idea of having this open house be an event. They can get pre-approved on site. Start your home search now. Get a free market analysis on site. The reality is right now, particularly in the winter months, people are starting their search now for 2023. So if you watch this video later, I think anytime's a good time to have an open house. But really in the winter, a lot of the people that I meet, they're very early in the process when they're starting to look at open houses. They don't necessarily have a realtor. They're not really committed to one. They haven't been pre-approved. So if you can get a lender to work with you, sit at the open house with you. We're going to talk about times of open houses in a second. Number 1, it's easier to carry things up and around and maybe get somebody to help you open doors, etc. Maybe they'll sponsor a prize. We'll talk about prizes in a second. Whatever you can do to get somebody else in there with you that's an expert. We're also going to really be talking about repurposing content so that you can repurpose content that you physically then can reuse everywhere. Because a lot of times also, it's not just about the people you're going to meet. It's about the people you already know that see you doing the business. So I'm looking at some of you on here on the right-hand side of my screen, and I'm not always 100% sure that I know that you're really busy in the business when you don't talk about the business. I have gotten listings off of even LinkedIn. People have reached out to me on LinkedIn. They say, hey, I saw you are always doing open houses on your places. You physically show property. My agent doesn't do any of that, and I think I'm going to switch agents. That's the type of conversation you can get into if you create a habit. If you do just one open house, you're like, well, not a lot of people showed up, or nothing happened out of that. It's a numbers game like anything else. You've got to meet a lot of people to convert a few. I'm going to show you tools today that will help you convert, but I just want to set the stage that not every open house is going to be the best thing ever. You've got to do these consistently. All right. So it would be great to have these people on site with you. Don't think that you can't do an open house alone. You absolutely can. But that mini workshop feel, and even the signs that I use now, it indicates right on the sign that you're going to be able to get pre-approved on site. If your lender for some reason can't make it, have them send you a link to their pre-approval form. That still means pre-approved on site. But I love having somebody else there to hold a camera. If I'm going to do a TikTok or an Instagram reel, they're going to help me give away a prize, a mini workshop feel. Here's another thing that we often miss out on: door knocking. Door knocking. Now, I know, again, some of you are in the city, but if you're not putting up flyers in advance, if you are not knocking on doors in advance, put something up in the building in advance. Think ahead, strategically think ahead. So this is Monday, Money Mondays. You would have days to do this in advance. So people are like, oh yeah, I saw that, I saw that listing, or I saw that your picture somewhere to get that FaceTime out. And how are you going to target the neighbors? Well, one of the ways that I use is Remind. It's right in our MLS here in Chicagoland. If you are not in Chicagoland, you can also use the Realtors Property Resource, or RPR, to track the neighbors that have a lot of equity in their home, that have been there a long time. Those are the people with the highest quote unquote sell score that you may want to target directly. And if you're really working the systems right, you can go into Forewarn, track these people down, maybe shoot them a wise text. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. You've got options to create an environment where it's for people coming through that are looking to buy, but it's also for neighbors that are potentially looking to sell. So I've got some great resources for you on that. Directional signs the day of. Nothing makes me laugh harder than well, that's not nice. Nothing makes me smile. That's not nice either. I feel bad for the agents that don't put any signs out. And you're like, well, how can I even get in there? Put directional signs out. Directional sites are very inexpensive. We have some generic extra ones. They're not the highest quality at North Avenue, and I believe they're at Cottage Grove. We can get them around to the other two offices if this resonates with you, that you can borrow. Please don't take them forever, but you do need to eventually get your own custom signs. They are not expensive at all. They're under $100 in most cases for a nice tent sign. I have vendors I can refer you to that are right here local. You don't even have to pay any delivery fee for them. But directional signs are key. You know why? Well, number one, it's trying to get people in the door. Number two, it's name recognition, face recognition, etc. for you. But you don't just put a sign out. You have to print out what I call almost like a header on that. So a teaser information. I'll show you a couple examples of that as well. I always only have my cell phone number on there. I have my name and my cell phone number. Here's why. I want them to text you to get access. This is absolutely key. This is the third period here. Text Nick for more for information, or text Nick for access. Same way on the door to the condo building or to the actual house. You can keep the door locked and just say it's for security. I want them to have to text you to get in. Here's why. That's your new sign-in sheet. You do not want to have a paper sign-in sheet. I think they look terrible. And guess what? A lot of people lie on them because they don't want to be bothered later. If they want to get in, they have to text you. What do you have then? First, you have their cell phone number. And again, with Forewarn, Forewarn, that wonderful app that we have access to through most of our local associations here in Chicagoland, Forewarn, then you can figure out who actually owns that phone. That is a key extra piece. Even if you don't use Forewarn, I'm happy to show you how to use it. You have to get their cell phone number in order to get lead capture. If you are sitting there and doing what I use this phrase too often, spray and pray. If you're going to sit there and host this beautiful open house and you're hoping the sign-in sheet they were honest, or God forbid, you're just handing out business cards and MLS printouts, thinking that was, you did your job. You didn't do your job. Your job is to get their basic contact information. So that is critical for lead capture, to have your cell phone number. Don't put the buzzer information, make them text you and then buzz them in. All right. So That is absolutely key. That has been critical for me to be able to sell property versus just hosting and sitting. I don't want you to host and sit. The more signs branded to you, the better. Again, you're everywhere at that point. People are going to start feeling that. If you're strategic about this, because we have listings almost everywhere, it's not always about the price point of the house. It's about, I was here last weekend, I'm here this weekend, maybe I'm at different opens. I wouldn't recommend you sit the same property over and over weeks in a row. That gets old for you, and the odds of you getting a new lead off that are diminishing unless there's been a big price reduction. We'll talk about that as well. So you've got to get that sign-in sheet out of your mind. It's not a sign-in sheet anymore. It is lead capture, a directional sign, and a post on the door. Please don't hand print them, hand type them. You can go to any of our offices and print out them or print them off at your house. Type them out. I have templates for you right in the coaching blog for that. If you do want to spend money, I would recommend not spending a lot, but you can do social media paid boosts. You would obviously target around the listing, although unfortunately, with the way that most social media is working now, if you are publicizing housing, it won't allow you to do it based on geography. So that we've played with that. It does not work based on geography anymore because of fair housing rules, and we always have to comply, nor will the social media outlets let you even cheat on that. So just know that you can't necessarily target as great as you used to. So I'm not 100% as excited about the social media paid boost, but please put it on your social media because it's reaffirming that you are in the business, you're available to them. I've done first-time homebuyer consults, I've done seller consults, all of this right during my own open houses. I'm using these things as an event to get people in the door. I put them up at least 24 hours in advance, preferably 48. You've got 8 to 9 photos of the property. Most social media outlets don't allow you to even do more than 9 or 10 max, but 9 on some of them like LinkedIn. And then big at the beginning, open house. And then again, your support language about making that an event, that is key. I do put the full address in there because the odds of people reaching out and texting me on social media because I didn't put the address versus having the door locked so that they have to text you to get in, that's different. So I will put the full address just to get people there. I'm not trying to get people to register for the open house in advance. I think that's clunky to do that in terms of on your social media. I don't do that. What I do, I try to always give something away. Is it a bottle of wine? Is it a gift card? Nothing huge, but I want to say, hey, you know what? Now here's a second reason to be honest with me when you walk in the door. But again, they're texting you, so they really can't lie about that. But they're going to want the free thing, right? They're going to want the prize. So whether you want to do cheap wine, bottle openers, chance to win an American Express gift card, you can use that for the whole weekend. So if you want to do multiple open houses, we're going to talk again about timing in a second. You can use that for the whole weekend as well. So talk to your lender, get a lender to partner with you on any of that kind of expense. I'm not spending a ton of money on open houses, and most weekends, not anything at all, but I'm giving something away. So this is more for the listing agents in the room, but if you've ever wondered as well as a agent, maybe if you haven't had a lot of listings yet, or if you haven't used it, I do a e-blast to agents, a reverse prospecting, and there's the instructions on this. I'm not going to really walk too far into this right now because it's a lot of you on here I'm looking at are going to be taking shared listing. You're going to be the host of the open house on a listing that's not yours for the weekend. Again, though, I love to do post it in realtor groups, anything you can do. And think about it this way, guys. If you're going to do a dynamic open house, these leveraged event type open houses, you may get some realtors that come in, they're like, well, I don't have some of this stuff. Where is it? So think about that for you. Oh my gosh, social media the day of. It is so great that you are going to be stuck and scheduled, doing something you committed to, and you're sitting at a listing. Why are you not talking about that listing right while you're there? So I know we mentioned obviously getting it on the MLS very early in the week, posting it to your social media at least 24, if not 48 hours before. But while you're there, that's the time to do the Instagram stories, the Facebook lives. Some of you now are even doing stuff on YouTube Live, although It's a little bit clunky to try to do that from your phone. A static permanent post in advance is key, but then the same value proposition while you're there. Hey, I'm here till 2. I've got some free stuff for you. I'm here to talk to you, whether you're looking to buy or sell. Come on through, even if this property is not for you. That rhymed, didn't it? Okay, well, I still got some jokes this late in the day. Obviously, hype up the features of the property. Talk about what you have for them on your little drip campaign I'm going to show you in a minute. TikTok, still new to TikTok. Add me if you're not there yet. Instagram Reels, I love. YouTube Shorts, that's cute. All that stuff. It is a vertical versus horizontal, so it's easy to just walk through the property. And some days, guess what? I'm not even in the content. I'm just showing them the property. You automatically have permission to post because you are the host. I rhymed again. I swear this isn't scripted today. Again, IGTV is gone. It's Facebook Live and Instagram Reels at this point, but this is your time to shine. This is a great way to be in a video for 5 seconds. You're not having to do a ton of content, but if you did want to, you could bring your little tripod. I've got a link to that right on my Amazon account. So does Marky. She and I both are big into these tripods. You can put a tripod up and you and your lender can do a Facebook Live, a YouTube, a TikTok, whatever you want to do to get information out there. This is why I love having a lender with you at this. It kills the time, it keeps you company, it keeps you safe, and it gives you either somebody to hold the camera if you didn't have a tripod, or you are both hopefully on it together talking about lending options. I have 2 clients I picked up off of an open house that I could not even get consumers into. It was in a building that does not allow open houses. And guess what I did? I brought my lender in. We did a virtual open house. Not ideal, but we did it. And I had 2 different people that reached out to me. One was because I talked about rehab loans. It was a property that needed some work. And they said, well, I don't even know what that is. Tell me more. I think I could. I'm seeing properties I don't like as is, but I'd like them if I had the money for rehab all packaged in there. So being on site with a lender helped me with that. The second one was really random. This has not happened to me a lot, but it's starting. And that's because when I'm doing the social media post, both the static post in advance and the live while I'm there, I'm tagging the building or I'm tagging the neighborhood. And that is how you create all of a sudden a reputation for a particular location. I rhymed again. This is, let's see how long we can do this. I'm not trying to do that on purpose. I need to move my little screen share notification so I can read this last one to you. So what do you do when you're there? We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. If you are the listing agent, you get a listing website for every single one of your listings automatically the minute you put in the MLS. If it's not your listing, and this was a big deal to me when we moved over to Wise Agent as our CRM, you can create a landing page for lead capture. A landing page for lead capture. Let me give you a word of advice or a bullet point of advice that's not on here. If it's in a building or a neighborhood you're not super familiar with, go in advance. You can make some content in advance. You can add that to your landing page that's specific to that property. And guess what? You're going to feel a lot more confident while you're there because you've talked in advance. You've done a little bit of research in advance. You've been there. Now you know where the laundry room is, if it's a condo building or the pool. I watch agents that are sitting open houses as guest agents, literally not know a single thing about the building. And I could roll over in my not yet grave because I'm like, why would you come there, roll in, barely put a sign out, and not even know where you're at? I mean, literally, I'm like, where's the parking? No idea. No idea where the parking is. You know, where's the nearest bus stop? No idea. You've got to do a little bit of recon before you go sit this open house, because again, yes, you are there to technically sell the house. You are there much bigger than that to go 50% wider, meet new people, meet new buyers and sellers, and also show your level of expertise to your existing database through these social media techniques. If you're stammering or you can only get about 20 seconds of content out because you don't know anything about the area, that's bad. What's good is if you bring your laptop or tablet, if you've got your phone tripod and your phone's on the tripod, or You can even write this out. I told you not to do anything except typed out stuff. If you just want to write out even a little piece of paper, though, or read off the MLS sheet, just read decent. All of that, it's creating, wow, okay, that person knows that area. That person is in the business. Because how many of your competitors do you see that you can barely tell they're in real estate, or all they're doing is posting motivational stuff? No offense to anybody that does, because I do that all the time. But it's like, yes, I know the interest rates are up. What else is out there for me right now? This is your time to shine. If you're not doing open houses and you're hungry for business, what are you doing with that time? What are you doing with that time? This is one of the best uses of your time, even if one person shows up or no one shows up, God forbid. Hopefully, if you did steps 1 through 6, we won't be there. But it's about the people you know and the people you're about to grow with. That was almost a rhyme. Okay, next slide. This is a no-brainer, I think, but then I don't know, because I see this is, I think, actually where some people start to fall off, is you've got to greet each guest completely. This is not just a hello. It is using your exit tools, your exit strategy toolkit, your Project X toolkit. This is where you're going to shine with it, because if somebody goes to 3 open houses that sucked, excuse my language, and I mean sucked because the agent didn't know where they were, they barely greeted you, they certainly didn't get your contact information, did they? I've seen some terrible open houses. Here's how to make it great. Number 1, you have the Exit Realty Connect app. You all do, whether you've downloaded and used it yet or not, you do have it. And I'll be at North Avenue tomorrow at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and I will be at Cottage Grove. I will be at all of our I literally am at every office this week and next week and the week after, all the way to Christmas, to show you these tools in person if you're struggling with them. Don't even have to go to a help desk. I will be your help desk. But these tools, if you've got your Exit Realty Connect app out, you can literally send somebody a buyer or seller guide right there. So that's step 1. You've already got their cell phone, don't you? So you've already got one of these steps done. Number 2, get them on Zenlist. What does Zenlist have? It has all the private listing network, the PLN, the private listing network listings that aren't on Zillow, Redfin, etc. This is a huge differentiator between you and an agent at another brokerage, where very few people have Zenlist. Guys, please give it out right while you're there. Give it out right while you're there. Discuss a few key features of the property with them, kind of get to know them a little bit, ask where they live now, maybe what's their timeline, but don't corner them, though. Some people do not want to be bothered. And you know what? I'm going to inform them. I've already got their contact information. They are not going to fall in love with you in a 2-minute conversation if you've cornered them and they haven't even seen the house. Let them roam a little bit without you. Okay, that's my advice. You don't have to follow it, but it has worked for me for many years. If they are looking like they are wrapped up in the home, ask them, is there any questions you can answer? Is there anything else they'd like to know about the area? Strong suggestion at this point. Say, I have this Zenlist. I've got the app. I've got this digital buyer presentation I already sent to you while you were looking at the house. Wink, wink, because you already have their cell phone number. And say, you know what? You can fill out this little form on the top right-hand side of the digital buyer presentation. It's a buyer survey. You can tell me a little bit more about what you're looking for. I may have some other stuff too. If this didn't work for you, is 9 times out of 10, even if it did, they won't want to tell you that. They will fill out that survey. And if they fill out that survey, you can then go in and send them private listing network matches to their criteria that aren't on Zillow, aren't on Redfin, because guess what? There's not that much out there right now. The inventory is low. And also, you could even set it up so that they see the stuff that's price dropped. So if you're not sending them stuff, they're not necessarily going to log in and do it on their own. If they never responded as far as the Zenlist app, if they didn't want to accept the invite to that using your Zen link, that is absolutely fine. You can send them to them manually one at a time and just say, hey, there's some stuff I found that may work for you that I know isn't on Zillow, Redfin, etc. So use your Zenlist app, use the digital presentation to try to figure out a little bit more about them. And the digital buyer presentations, if you are newer and not 100% feeling confident in the process, It's doing a lot of the work for you. Scroll towards the back of it. It talks about closing costs, timelines, things to look for, home warranties, home inspections. Great information in the digital buyer presentation. Be a neighborhood expert. This is kind of the next step in that. Cloud CMA has some really good information. So does Realtors Property Resource. You can print that stuff out and have it there with you, or you can have it at the ready electronically. Do the work in advance. What I always did wrong was I would say I'd send it to them later. Some of them never heard from me again. We're going to change that with the drip campaigns, but this is absolutely key. If you've got the information at the ready, I hate paper. I roll into my stuff. I got a QR code. I got the text thing on the door so they can text me. They come in. They've got a QR code, maybe an MLS sheet. For anybody that does like paper, is really not into technology. Got an MLS sheet. Everything else, I'm like, oh, and I can send you that information. No, I've got your cell phone number. Can I get your email? What a concept. What a concept. That is, guys, this is not rocket science. And I did these wrong for so many years and was like, why am I doing these? And then magically, when I got coached on how to do them right, here we are. But you have additional tools, Cloud CMA, ZenList, have the QR code from ZenList right there with you at the open house so that they don't even have to interact with you. You can just go scan the QR code and then you've got them added to your ZenList. But a great follow-up, and we're going to talk about follow-up in a second, is to send them a Cloud CMA on the area. You don't have to go into details on the home. Send them what's sold in the area. Cloud CMA is the only CMA product that lets them scroll through the pictures of everything else in the area. You're not telling them that house is over or underpriced. They're not your client yet, but you're sending them information, data that nobody else has. I love when people are like, here's the nearest bus stop. Well, that's better than not knowing the bus stop. But how about neighborhood information beyond just that? What's going on in the neighborhood? What are the trends? We're going to talk about that as well. So the comparables, it's not just the Cloud CMA. It also could be a simple list of everything that's sold in the area. But again, I really like the Cloud CMA live link better. I have lots of training on that. I can show you that again live tomorrow. You can also, if they're a seller, remind them, hey, I can come over and I can do a CMA for you on your property. If they're a buyer, most of the time, I shouldn't say most of the time, a good number of the times that they're going to be rolling through as a buyer, they're only a buyer. They're not going to have a property to sell. But sometimes I could be wrong on that. And sometimes I have been wrong on that. So again, you just have to have their contact information. You've got their cell phone number. And the way that I've now taught you how to do the live link in Cloud CMA, you don't even have to have an email address, although it's helpful. And I'd strongly prefer you ask for one. But if for some reason that email bounced back because they lied, or if you're like me, I have fat fingers and I write things down wrong or I type wrong, you still do have their cell phone number. That can't be a typo because they texted you to get into the property. The marketing they see from you that day, the technology will be a reflection of how they view you afterwards. This is your first impression with them, right? So if I'm in there with handwritten signs and Post-it notes and I showed up late and I look like you know what, and it's not going to go well. And I am with enough clients on the weekends, even now that I'm kind of on referral basis, I'm still out with people enough to have my own clients. A lot of them are my friends go, wow, that agent did not know anything, or that is just not, where's the value in that? Thanks for opening the door. Should have put it on lockbox. I don't want you to ever be in that spot again, guys. You have the tools right now in your arsenal, but it really is, and I respect your time. It really is hard for you to do that when you pick this open house up Thursday night or Friday morning, right? It could take a couple days to do this the right way. Depending on who my lender is, I've got some snacks. You can go to Costco, you can go to Aldi and get some bottles of water. We are not doing that well to have, champagne at every open house, right? Maybe someday, but have a little something if you want to. But the bottom line is have the resources. You all have the resources, whether you ever feed them or give them a sip of water or not, you can give them a fire hose of information. Now, here's my favorite. Follow up. This is where, again, I fell off. I'm not criticizing any of you that are maybe not doing these steps because I was in your shoes and I didn't do them. But I'm going to really harp into you on this, and we're going to work with technology to get you through this. And I'm actually going to really quick, while I've got you guys here, I'm going to see who's on in case we have anybody that's like, oh yeah, I've mastered that stuff. A few of you on here today, by the way, were kind enough to send me your item of value that we worked on Wednesday night. Congratulations to you, those of you guys that did. I was really impressed. That's a nice thing for your existing clients. For new people, follow-up has to be a lot more intense. I get a lot of questions on timing as to follow-up. Speaking of timing, number one, my open houses only last an hour and a half max. I see some of you, bless you folks, that are doing 2.5, 3 hour, 4 hour, I mean, ridiculous open houses. You are not paid to be there. You are the CEO of your company, not me. So as the CEO of your company, your time is valuable. If it's in the MLS and is properly promoted, the people that are truly interested will get there. Now, obviously, you have walk-by traffic in a lot of areas. So maybe an hour and a half max. I call them power hours. If you want to get really aggressive, you can do 2 or 3 in a day if you're going to do power hours. But I let my sellers know it's going to be a little less time out of the house. My marketing is about the exposure rather than hoping people spray and pray. Don't do it. Hoping people just roll through. I can do a multiple of them in a day. It's fast paced. I'm ADD, as most of you know. So it works for me. I'm not going to tell you not to do a longer one. I'm going to advise you strongly that it's not in your best interest as CEO of You Inc. to do super long ones. But I go ahead and I get to either my next appointment or my car and go home, and I follow up with each individual contact. Now, there is a much easier way to do this that we're going to dive into further tomorrow as well regarding the drip campaigns, because I have this set up now for you. Now have 2 landing pages in Wise Agent, not 1, but 2. We had 1 with my contract with them. I renegotiated and invested a little bit more in this. You now have 1 for buyers and 1 for sellers. I'm going to show you how to do them. So if they're super motivated, they can fill out the little landing page piece. If they're not super motivated, you just put them in your phone, right? Well, they're there. You just need to put in first name, last name, which you can find on Forewarn, or they've given you their email address. You have just enough to put them on a drip campaign. I don't love the standard boring drip campaigns. You also have all the information we just talked about and a little more I'm going to show you in a second to add to your drip campaign. It's set it and forget it. It doesn't necessarily mean you forget them, but it's set it and forget it in terms of now you have an automatic drip campaign follow up. If you're the seller agent, of course, sellers agent, of course, report back to them as you leave, make sure everything's cleaned and closed up. I don't think this is that type of training. I need to tell you that, but I'm really focused and committed to, if I'm going to say I'm going to follow up, I have to. And if I don't follow up or don't mention that I'm going to, guess what? I'm not 100% sure this was the best use of your time. I mean, I'm not telling you to stay home, but if you're not going to do the work, you know, why are you there? I want you to be there because you want the business and you're hungry. And I know that you are. So therefore, my job is to help you with that. So let's get into that. We're not going to do questions right now. That is the 11 steps. I want to walk you into, even though it says questions, that was in case I wanted to not show you anything else. I think we have time to do this. I want to walk you through a new piece to the Project X Agent Roadmap. You now have a 10-point plan, You guys all got this. I will send it to you again right now in case you don't already have it. I'm going to send it in the chat. If you are watching us out there in the real world and you're not an exit strategy and not part of Project X, talk to your coach. They will help you, I'm sure. But for us, Project X is unique. It is meant to make it easier and better in terms of the way you relate to people, the way you follow up. Let me put this in the chat for those of you that are here. We're going to copy the link. And again, you're not going to be an editor. I'm sorry. I'm the only editor on this at this time. The reason why is I want you to be able to look at it, but not to change it. So look at it, but not to change it. Let's go ahead and get you in here, though, with this. If you don't already have it, and if you do already have it, looked at it, it just changed because we now have this finally up for you. And if for some reason it does allow you to change, edit it, please don't. Download it, save it, make it your own. But I really don't think you need to make it your own. I think you just need to follow it. So this is what we're going to be working on tomorrow at 11 a.m. during, I'm going to be live at North Avenue in person, but I know that a lot of you have things to do. And so we will be also online and also be at every other office this week. And I can even make some time for you this weekend. I heard a rumor. So here's what we're going to do. Let me walk you through it now. And then I'm going to show you how to add it to your Wise agent. So it is set it and forget it. You're going to start by sending them the digital buyer guide. Now, probably already you're saying, well, I thought I sent that to them right while they were there. Did you? Or did you get caught up because you had the next person coming in? This is where I'm still torn on the drip campaigns, which is why I want to play with it a little bit tonight, to make sure that I'm not creating something for you that is repetitive. But I do know also that sometimes people will say yes and that they received a link and they didn't really look at it because they're on to the next thing, both you and the consumer. But the digital buyer guide, I think, is your baseline. Then the Zen list, Zen link is the second piece. And I want you to use the same language that I use. Just don't use my link because that will go to my Zen list, which is pointless for you. And I would love to send them back to you, but I won't know whose is whose. So I want to send you this language. I'm going to send it to you in the chat. I have to cut and paste it first. And I will send that to myself so I can do that to you right now. Because otherwise you say, here's my Zen list link. And they're like, huh, what? I already have Zillow. You know, you've got to explain to them what it is. So let me go ahead and get this into our chat for those of you that are here. If you are not here and you're seeing this later, this is also in the coaching blog under the Zen list category. It's under the tools you need to know. And if you do not yet have Zen list, for those of us at our office, I will show you how to get there privately. But it is all paid for you, just like Wise Agent and everything else. So let me get you into the chat here with this commentary. Again, you can cut and paste this. You can edit it to whatever you want. Just remember when it says link here, you insert your Zen link, not mine. But this sells them on why it's so different to be using this app. It is absolutely critical anywhere across MRAD, our Northern Illinois MLS, that you have this, because in some neighborhoods right now, I'm seeing closer to 10% of the listings, especially some of the really great ones, are showing up only in the private listing network. That is, I can't control that. I don't like the private listing network. I've said that many times publicly. But since it is here to stay, apparently, ZenList is our way to really overcome that and give our clients truly full access to everything that is on the market, whether it's on the open market or not. So that ZenList link is step 2. Step 3 is connect with them on LinkedIn. Now, I've talked about LinkedIn for years, constantly. I don't own stock in it. I don't think it's publicly traded, but I love LinkedIn because so many people are on LinkedIn that have gotten off Facebook, can't figure out Instagram, don't like TikTok. You know, a lot of people are only on LinkedIn. And so if you go ahead and connect with them on LinkedIn, you're going to see more information about them, and they will see more information about you, which means that if your LinkedIn is an abyss, I have a tool for that I paid for you, but you have to use it. We'll talk about that tool in a second. Cloud CMA on a property they inquired on. Yes, easy. You're not criticizing the pricing on that current property. You're showing them everything else that's gone on in the area. You can do a very simple report. Takes 5 minutes. Send them financing options. So for those of you that don't already know this, I do a podcast every Tuesday. I went on teamliber.com the same way you schedule private sessions with me or get into our private coaching blog. By the way, for friends at other companies that keep requesting access, that is just for us. We love you, but no, because that's got some proprietary stuff I can't actually share publicly. So, but for everybody, even if you're not with us, you can share these little podcasts. And this, you go right into teamliber.com and you click on this little thing that looks like a cloud at the top. That's my SoundCloud channel. So my SoundCloud channel is a bunch of different content, probably too much, but Libert's List for Consumers. I've been doing this since 2020. I have 35 total podcast pieces in here. They're updated with different things almost every week at this point. Assuming mortgages, mortgage financing options for independent contractors, zero money down loans for medical professionals, Big jump in conventional loan limits for 2023. 3-2-1 mortgage buydowns, top 10 green retrofits. Do you get the idea? There's podcasts for everybody here. It's a great thing for you to steal my content and make it your own. Because guess what? This is a podcast. It's not even a video. I haven't gotten there yet with all my content. Why wouldn't I do video? The podcast, I'm on a syndicated radio show once a week on the weekend. So this is repurposing that content. Speaking of repurpose, you can send a couple of these or make your own out, and they are branded to exit. They literally, I name drop exit, choose your exit strategy, realty agent constantly. We're not, here to generate business for somebody else. It's for you. So that is a couple extra pieces if you don't already have your own. What did we just say though, guys? We are sitting at an open house that we hopefully have a lender at the open house with us. So guess what? This is a perfect time to film that content and send it out to them afterwards. Requires a good lender, a lender that has a lot of different options out there and is happy to be on a social media post with you. So ask in advance. It's not just about having them bring a gift card for your raffle prize. So the Condo Blog link, this is things to look for in association. I will give you this one, even though it is also in the podcast. It is Condos with Library. I should know that one by now. It's from my LinkedIn. I'm going to give it to you because it's a lot of information, almost too much even for the podcast, but there's a list here. This is also a great list if you are in a condo building as a host of an open house and you don't have the information here. You need to get it from the listing agent. If the listing agent doesn't have it, you may want to slip a note to me and Eve. No, I'm kidding. Maybe I'm kidding, because they really should have this. I do this in all my listings. And then I have a cheesy video in here that you could reproduce yourself in 5 minutes by reading these 10 things into a camera. So I'm looking at some of you that I think are just gorgeous, fun, articulate, great folks. You should be doing videos. It should not be my content unless you just absolutely can't imagine doing this on your own. I'm happy to continue I will continue to make content that's exit realty branded, but I'm just saying to you, I think people that you met at an open house should see you. Here's why. You have met them once. Video is such a powerful follow-up to that. You can do a wise text that sends that video out as a drip campaign to multiple people at once. What a great way to have follow-up. But I'm just going to continue to give you the content for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you hate video and can't stand technology, send to mine instead. Number two, it's great baseline content to be like, I know I can do this better than Nick. You can. Trust me. I'm not that slick. Do this type of stuff. We already talked about this, but I'm reminding you again, send them a few private listing network listings in that area that they're not going to see on any other website. If they've already signed up for Zenlist, you send it right in their Zenlist account. If they've not, send it to them manually. And that requires you to be kind of sitting down somewhere to get that out there, but it's not that hard to do. Send them a RoomView video on buying. Do you hate video? Do you, maybe you're having a day like I am where I look greasy. Whatever your situation is, friends, RoomView has videos for you that you can share. And I'm paying for your RoomView account, not only to have you get it connected to LinkedIn, so when you add them on LinkedIn, you look decent, but also so that you can share those videos elsewhere. There's a link that you literally can just share the link. You can just share the link on those videos and scroll down. There's some really good ones that are shaped differently for different types of, whether you want it to be horizontal or vertical or quick. I will give you a super quick example of one that posted automatically for me earlier today. We were actually in our live coaching session at North Avenue when this was happening. And it was funny because somebody asked to quote Josh Bergard, who's an amazing, one of our top 8, there he is. I swear I don't do this manually. I think someone's watching these outlines in advance. So there's Josh as one of his, so I don't think that's the same article that I posted. So that's a RoomView one. I love it, love it, love it. But you can also share these videos with people. So this one earlier today that posted, not necessarily something that I would have thought of it was not something I would have thought of on my own, but it was really cool to go in and see that this got posted automatically. So not for everybody, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of homes in the suburbs, 50s, 60s homes. There's good content done for me. And again, the link is right in your RoomView account that I pay for you, not only to have it automatically posted to your LinkedIn once or twice a week, you're getting content done for you, branded to you, but also that content can be shared by text message, email, etc. So go in your RoomView account and play with it a little bit. Happy to help you tomorrow at North Avenue or on Zoom, walk you through that process as well. InfoSparks, we are running short on time. I like to keep these under an hour. InfoSparks is great overall market information. If you guys would like a training on InfoSparks, I'm happy to do that for you. There's also someone, quite frankly, even better at it than me in our office that might be willing to do it for you in December as a Money Mondays content. But just know that it's in there. There's some good like bar graphs and charts. That's very interesting information. If that's something you would like me to go over tomorrow, I can absolutely do that tomorrow as part of our drip campaign walkthrough. And I think some of you are going to have other questions about other things tomorrow. It is a general session, but I'm really going to focus on the drip campaign. Last but not least, send them an invite to our next consumer event. Some of you guys were just absolute rock stars with that this past time. Did a great job. We had a lot of consumers at that event that were from our agents. So I was really proud of you guys for that. We do have our next event. I will walk you through that event tomorrow, but it is, just so you know, it is next Monday night. We have a 1031 exchange seminar. And then for December, because Miss Olivia Carpenter is on with us, we have a really cool thing. We still have a little bit of logistical stuff with the boxes to work out because I haven't gotten the boxes yet. But we are doing a donation drive for the Haymarket Center, which if you are familiar with them, they do amazing work with some really, some people that have gone through some really bad stuff and are on the other side, but they need help. So it's going to be a December, all people push. Everybody should be able to contribute to that. Okay. So that's a cute thing at the end of your steps. It's not going to be your first one. Hey, I met you for 5 minutes. Come donate some shampoo to our stuff. Not going to work. That is a cute later on follow-up and an introduction to getting them into your regular items of value newsletter. Because in case some of you guys are new or watching us from somewhere else and don't know about how key events are, we have a list of 66 past events and 2 more on the way overnight. Really a lot of different items of value in all different categories of, health and wellness, personal finance, charity, community, and of course, real estate. So can't always be just about real estate, guys. People will stop talking to you very quickly if you cannot provide a proper, well-focused, well-balanced value proposition. That's why I'm very passionate about these events. I don't know if I can go into my text messages right while I'm here. And actually, it's private. There's a private cell phone number in there, I think, of like text message I got just before this training, but I'm going to read it to you. And it was someone that I had literally, hold on one second. Wanted to introduce you to over here. Nick, I was thinking of you after you sent the invite to that event this weekend. Garrett is a good friend, blah, blah, blah. Looking to move to Chicago. I always obviously would think first of you. Can't think of anyone better to blah, blah, blah. Super nice person. Super nice referral. I think that they would have still sent that if I hadn't sent them the thing this weekend, but it's odd that right after that, and she referenced that in this text message, I get and the person's already replied, looking for first time shopping for a house. So we were trying to figure out where to start. Well, guess what I'm going to be doing? Following this 10-step plan. This 10-step plan is not just for open houses. It works perfect for open houses, but it is ideal with all buyers. So there's another blank for this, the seller drip. The seller drip, we are going to do the exact same version of this for sellers, focused on expireds, because what's coming up? The 2 biggest days of the year for expireds, December 31st and January 1st, followed by January 2nd. So that is going to be a Money Mondays only for our office. Unfortunately, there's going to be some, again, proprietary information and scripts from Project X that I will not be publicizing outside of our office. But that drip will look like a seller version of this, but it's not just meant for expireds, it's meant for all sellers. So this is, guys, absolutely critical that you start thinking for 2023 more strategically, pun intended. Karen, I see you. I have a good joke with her for those of you guys that don't know the ongoing joke about me mispronouncing the name of our own office once in a while, or quite a while. But this is a strategy for you to do in every single case, whether it's somebody you meet in an open house or someone that was just lobbed in your direction. Isn't that great? Lobbed in my direction. I can't pinpoint some days whether it was RoomView, whether it was ZenLink, whether it was, my orange spray tan that got people to want to work with me. But it's not just about the people you meet at this open house or online or wherever else. It's about the people they know too. Do right by them, provide value. These items of value that we showed you today, we will continue to show you. That's what you do in the long run. So I have 2 minutes or so before we turn off our broadcast and let you go into your evening. I know it's almost 5 o'clock. Some of you all got places to go. I think I'm just going to eat. But any questions that you want to do publicly? And if you want to do them privately while you're thinking, I will be at North Avenue tomorrow at 11. And then let's see the schedule the rest of the week. I'll give that to you while you're thinking. And again, yes, ma'am.
How do you get to the digital buyer's guide?
Oh, perfect. Great question. So very easy. I'm going to show you how to get to it. And I'm going to show you how. So if you go to exitrealty.com, and I'm going to mute you just so I can get that in here and have you guys hear me okay. So log into the Resource Center. What I love about these is these are branded completely to you, and they are gorgeous, and they can be sent a variety of ways. They can be sent through your Exit Realty Connect app. They can be sent from a desktop or laptop, as I'm showing you right from the Exit Resource Center. And they can also even be downloaded as a PDF if you're old school and you love paper. No shade or slam on you if you like paper. My only concern is on paper, you don't get one piece of this, and I'm going to show it to you in a moment. So this is, I'm going to go into this one right here. See on the right-hand side where it says generate PDF, that's where you can generate the PDF and download it. I watch consumers, my own buyers, walk into a car with me and throw out $100 worth of trees, beautifully printed out stuff, because all they wanted was they wanted to look at it. They made notes. A lot of them are using my Zen list, making their notes in there now. They're not keeping the paper. So I'm suspicious of that. But more importantly, they won't on paper have this buyer survey, which you scroll through several screens of really insightful stuff that, by the way, if they go ahead and submit it online and you have your exit account and your Wise Agent account synced up, it'll go straight into your Wise Agent. I can't make it any easier at this point, but you go into, I'm going to walk you through that one more time. And then again, I'm at all of our offices this week, all 4. I can show you in person if you're struggling. I've also done a lot of videos on these guys. So, try to check and make sure you haven't already set them up. Some of you guys actually have. So, because we've done it where they're like, I don't know what that is. We go in there and I'm like, you set this up months ago and you've been sending them out. I just probably talk too fast. So go into marketing once you're at exitrealty.com, and then you're going to click on presentations. See right over here, marketing and then presentations. And you click on add new presentation to add the information in. I do have language that I'm happy to show you offline or in our offices or in a one-on-one on Zoom. The manage settings button, we have some nice language that I use in there, and happy to show you that as well. And I think we set yours up already. I think you may have just asked, how can I find it again, which would have been a much quicker answer. I was trying to be helpful, and I think I over-explained. So I can show you that again later on in person. Guys, we are at the 5 o'clock mark. I will be, let's be either at North Avenue together in person or online. If you can't make it tomorrow and you've got questions, here's what we're definitely going to do tomorrow, though. By tomorrow, I'll be able to show you the graphics and the cool stuff for Olivia's, because Olivia was the one that spearheaded that event for us for the donations. Then also we have the 1031 exchange seminar. We'll show you how to promote that, but more importantly, I'm going to walk you through the drip campaign from the other end of it, because here's what to do, but it's like, well, how do I get that into Wise Agent? I'm going to show you tomorrow at 11 a.m. I promise. So hope this was helpful. I did see, Abraham, you raised your hand. Did you need something too?
Nick, just really quickly, you brought up your Eventbrite page. Do you mind just linking that?
Oh, absolutely. So if you guys ever are confused on like what, showing the value proposition or getting examples of stuff, you just go to teamliebert.com and you click on attend Exit Strategy Realty's consumer events. Or if you want something completely branded only to Exit, you text Exit Strategy Events to the number 85377. So we'll have the 2 new pieces for that. That's a good question. It's always there. We use the same text codes over and over, so you're not sending hyperlinks that nobody likes in social media. We got this down to a science now, guys. You just need to pass on the word. You did a wonderful job, a lot of you, with that event last week, and that's why we're going to flood you with more stuff for December. And we have a laundry list of ideas for January on. I am going to do the event logistics cost promotion. All you got to do is spread the word. So Abraham, great question. Edna, thank you for yours. If you guys need further clarification, I will be seeing you online or in person tomorrow at 11 a.m. and the rest of the week at the rest of the offices. Thank you guys very much for being here. This is on YouTube. And if you guys missed it, just click on the live feeds on YouTube and it will be there. Have a great night.